For over a year now, I've more or less completely abandoned my smartphone. To sum things up, it was getting too addicting, time-consuming, and overall, I found that I lived better without one anyways. However, because in this day and age it is mandatory to be available at all times, even when you're outside, I still have to use a mobile phone, just not a smart one. Since today I officially abandoned my smartphone, I have used all sorts of feature phones, which ultimately transformed into a cell phone collection, and I thought I could share my opinions on them. For the sake of simplicity, I will refer to any cellular phone with a keypad as a feature phone in this video. Please keep in mind that I'm talking from the perspective of someone ditching their smartphone for something less addictive. I know there are other reasons to get a feature phone, such as for a backup phone for example, but I won't be touching on that topic today. I have used many feature phones, both old and new, and I assure you that the older phones are infinitely better than the new ones in the market right now. I can even identify almost the exact year feature phones went from being awesome to terrible. It was around the time Nokia Mobile got bought out by Microsoft and Sony Ericsson just stopped producing phones and split. I am of course talking about the early to mid 2010s. That was the era when even the most die-hard feature phone users decided to switch to touchscreen smartphones, finally killing the entire market. At this point, the only feature phone you could buy were the super cheap ones made for developing countries, and so you had to forget about any high-tech ones altogether. Eventually, ever since the Nokia 3310 remaster in 2017, feature phones have gone up in popularity once again, whether due to nostalgia or people genuinely trying to get rid of their smartphones. But how good are these modern feature phones? Here's the answer. Not good. I have used a few modern Nokia feature phones, and I will guarantee you that you will have a bad time with the software if the phone runs on S30 Plus. It has a lot of bugs, no Java support, and has a laughable small storage space for SMS, which makes you manually delete your messages every other day with no real way to export them to your computer, which used to be possible when Nokia used to produce Symbian OS phones. S30 Plus is fast though, so I will have to give credit where credit is due. KaiOS is terrible. It is extremely bloated as it comes with a bunch of pre-installed garbage like Google and Facebook. One example of how slow it is the music app. I am not joking when I say that this is the slowest, laggiest application I have ever used on any platform ever, as it struggled to play a mere 2 GB playlist. Furthermore, I don't even understand who this operating system is made for. If you're getting rid of your smartphone and you're in the market for a feature phone to escape doom scrolling, Facebook is literally the last thing you want to see. In my opinion, KaiOS is a hard pass. Some feature phones come with Android. Are you mad? You throw away your smartphone to buy another smartphone while trying to not use a smartphone? Yeah, for the purpose of ditching your smartphone, this is not going to work. You want to get as far away as possible from Android, not keep using it. One very big complaint I have is the camera quality. We went from awesome cameras during the 2000s, such as the one featured in Sony Ericsson Cybershot devices, to the literal cheapest VGA camera possible on a modern feature phone. What were they thinking? I get that they want to save money on parts, but couldn't they get something just a little better than the absolute worst money can buy? Modern smartphones are too big and I hate it. This edge-to-edge nonsense should be considered a design flaw. I mean, I keep hitting the screen with the palm of my hand because the screen is too close to the edge and it is extremely annoying. But how does this affect feature phones? Well, it doesn't have a screen issue. but it does still have a size issue. Modern feature phones are big for no reason. Why is the Nokia 225 4G bigger than a BlackBerry? It doesn't make any sense, and there is no reason for it to be this large considering it only has a 240p display. Modern feature phones have a lack of diversity. We currently mostly have candy bars and occasionally get flips, whereas back in the day there were so many more shapes and sizes. I honestly see a big difference between old and new feature phones. The old ones are infinitely better. The software is polished and rarely bugs out. The camera actually takes pictures you can stare at, the predictive text software actually works, and overall, it used to be more ergonomic. I would end the video by telling you to use old phones if it weren't for one obstacle: 2G and 3G shutdowns. Depending on where you live, you may have already experienced 2G shutdowns, 3G shutdowns, or even both. As these old phones require these older technologies, once they're completely gone, there is nothing you can do to use your old device as a cell phone anymore. For example, in Canada, 2G is almost out of the equation, with Rogers being the last carrier offering GSM unofficially, with their 850 MHz band still up for no apparent reason, and all 3G towers will shut down on December 2025. The death of 3G would essentially mean the death of my trusty Nokia 2730 Classic and pretty much all of the old feature phones as well. So if you're thinking of getting a classic feature phone, you have to first make sure to check which bands your carrier supports, if it hasn't already shut down its 2G GSM or CDMA network, and compare with the phone in question by checking its specs. For example, I'm still able to use my Nokia 2730 Classic because Bell Mobility still operates its 850 and 1900 MHz 3G UMTS bands. If your carrier has no 2G or 3G options, then unfortunately, you'll have no choice but to use the modern phones instead. When Bell finally shuts down its 3G network in 2026, I really hope these modern 4G feature phones would have improved by then. If not, you will be forced to use these modern half-working phones that are either lagging very badly or can't even store more than 10 SMS before exploding.